The final Raw before SummerSlam coming from the Allstate Arena in Chicago saw the Alliance members surrounding the ring, followed by Steve Austin coming out to address the group, saying that under his leadership every man around the ring can be a top star in the business, hyping his match against Kurt Angle on Sunday after an injury Angle last Thursday that saw him injure Kurt's ankle, before going on to put over Van Dam, Page, Kanyon, Test and Rhyno as the top stars of the Alliance, while calling Morris and Raven to the ring before burying them along with Dreamer and Taz, with Austin debuting the "what" catchphrase in this segment for the first time when questioning the Alliance members, with this segment seeing Raw opening big with a 4.9 rating, the highest rated opening quarter since the night after WrestleMania 17 and one of the highest rated openings in the TNN era overall, with this Sunday in the first ever pay-per-view to see both the WWF and WCW titles defended on the same night in the Austin vs. Angle and Rock vs. Booker double headliner. The WWF, which in the last year took over a larger share of the pay-per-view industry revenue than at any point in history due to its numbers staying at record levels while both WCW and ECW declined and then folded, would see the final pay-per-view distributed under one of the major pay-per-view providers in DirecTV, with negotiations to renew the deal still going on, with the WWF looking to get a larger percentage of the revenue, with the company now having more leverage than ever before, along with looking to avoid potential lost buys in future events from a large percentage of people who are used to order the shows through DirecTV. The 21-minute opening segment concluded with Austin questioning Taz on watching instead of helping Shane McMahon when getting a rock bottom through the announcer's table last Thursday, telling Taz that he's now forced to make an example out of him, to lead to Austin and the Alliance members attacking Taz at Austin's order, with this segment after already opening strong picking up an additional 500,000 viewers to a 5.2 rating in the second quarter, which also featured a Tajiri vs. Albert match going 3 minutes, and with the majority of the Alliance members out for the first segment. Another potential name for the group in Rey Mysterio met with Jim Ross for the first time at the SmackDown tapings in LA last Tuesday, with Rey, whose contract expires on the final day of 2001 on December 31, told to stay in ring shape, and they would start negotiations to sign Rey in early 2002, with the idea that the company by then would perhaps split the brands and looking to debut new talent on the WWF or WCW headed shows, with Raw next having the reunion of former ECW Tag Team Impact players Lance Storm and Justin Credible against Edge and Christian, ending with Edge pinning Credible in the build to the Edge vs. Storm IC title match on Sunday. This Thursday would see the first ever Thursday SmackDown in a hyped show 3 days to SummerSlam, and after last week saw Rhyno spearing Jericho through the original SmackDown entrance set in an angle to write it off, SmackDown is going to get a new look across the board, from the logo set and show graphics debuting in 3 days, as the live SmackDown broadcast, which was announced months in advance in a quarterly business report by Linda McMahon, was originally set to be the start of the show's permanent move to be taped on Thursday nights as the exclusive WWF show of the week, before Vince pulled the plug on the idea of giving Raw to the WCW brand following the crowd reaction in Tacoma to the Booker vs. Bagwell match on July 2nd. And meanwhile, WWF President Stuart Snyder, who was one of the key figures in negotiations to buy the company due to his history working at Turner with some political maneuvering behind the scenes, said that the WWF still plans on launching a separate WCW show, but it won't be the upcoming new Saturday night show on TNN, saying that they didn't put a clock to when they would get there, but the long-term plan of separating the companies to two entities remains the same, while talking about Raw's drop from the peak, saying that the move from the USA Network to TNN hurt as USA is viewed as a more mainstream network, noting the recent spike in numbers with The Rock's return while saying that the company will continue to work hard to get a larger percentage of the old WCW viewers who mostly moved on since the last Nitro on March 26, with Raw closing its first hour with a SummerSlam preview cage match with Taker and Kane defending the WCW tag titles against Palumbo and O'Haire before facing Page and Kanyon on Sunday, doing a 5.2 rating, with the top-of-the-hour segment seeing Rhyno and Stephanie coming out for a promo hyping the Jericho vs. Rhyno match at SummerSlam after the major angle on SmackDown, with Rhyno giving Jericho a gore through the set, bringing out Jericho to mock Stephanie's obvious recent cosmetic change. The Allstate Arena exploded with Rock coming out for the response 6 days before his pay-per-view return match, cutting a comedic promo mocking Booker to massive reactions from the crowd before him and Jericho took turns running down Shane and Stephanie in a memorable exchange that stirred things up backstage with Vince McMahon and the TNN censors, with Rock during the week continuing to see his mainstream stock rising, being credited in Entertainment Weekly's biggest winners list on driving an all-time network record viewership with over 7.6 million viewers for his TV return on July 30th, along with winning the Best Villain category at the Teen Choice Awards for his role in The Mummy Returns despite only making a cameo appearance in the movie, with this segment seeing the main event tag of Rock and Jericho against Booker and Rhyno set up in less than an hour, with Rock closing the promo in front of the hot crowd in Chicago hyping the match with the over 18-minute segment going over 2 quarters, doing the peak of the night with a 5.4 rating. After the official price the company paid to buy WCW was revealed last week at $4.3 million in total and a ridiculously low figure of only $2.5 million for the brand, more details were coming out on the last few months of the company under Time Warner on the way to the suspicious sale to McMahon at a price lower than the yearly salary of some of the top stars in the company, with a Turner executive revealing that the Eric Bischoff-led Fusion Media offered $10 million for the company in January, along with $65 million in incentive-based payments over the next 7 years, including the possibility of the company reaching $1 billion value on the market, before coming back with a second lesser offer after reviewing the WCW financial books with no money up front and only $5 million in advertising, as the decision was made to sell to the WWF just to get it off the books for tax benefits, and one of the names who currently gets paid almost the same amount the WWF paid for WCW for sitting at home on the last year of his contract in Nash, commented on his future plans, saying that he's looking forward to teaming back up with Scott Hall and Reform the Outsiders when his contract expires on January 1, 2002, saying that at 12:01 a.m. on New Year's Day he becomes a free agent, and the plan is for him and Hall to work the Tokyo Dome show for New Japan Pro Wrestling on January 4 before going from there to hint at a potential return to the WWF, with Raw seeing a major first-time ever match just before the main event with Kurt Angle vs. Rob Van Dam for the Hardcore title, in a match seeing the crowd cheering both wrestlers to end with Van Dam doing his first job in the company, with Jeff Hardy pinning him to win the belt 6 days from their pay-per-view ladder match. Raw's final quarter saw 2 commercial breaks filling almost half the quarter, followed by the entrances of the tag match taking place at 10:55 p.m. to kick off the main event 2 minutes from the top of the hour, going 9 fast-paced minutes in the first televised in-ring interaction of Rock and Booker on the way to SummerSlam after their scheduled warm-up match on a house show last Sunday was cancelled due to Booker's calf injury, showing strong chemistry in several exchanges to end up with Rhyno pinning Jericho for the finish after Shane's interference, seeing the match picking up over 900,000 viewers from the commercial-heavy 10:45 p.m. quarter, which dropped to a show-low 4.8 rating to a joint-show-high 5.4 rating in the 9-minute overrun, closing the show with Booker laying out Rock with the rock bottom in the final image of Raw heading into the SummerSlam main event on Sunday, with one more stop before the pay-per-view this Thursday in a major SmackDown for the final sell to what is targeted to be one of the biggest SummerSlams in history, with Rock's first pay-per-view match since WrestleMania 17.